From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings, LALATE.
Good morning, everybody, and major news today about your big stimulus checks and also the financial markets on Mornings LALATE Live this morning. We'll have brand new earnings announcements this week, and we're going to go over each of those incredible days and those announcements one at a time. In today's recording, it tells us where this economy is going. Plus, minutes ago, I told you it was going to be a big day. The OPEC Plus announcement for production of gasoline pumping was announced. Are gas prices going higher, or are they staying stable? The breaking news minutes ago from Saudi Arabia and Vienna as the OPEC Plus announcement on gas prices is released. Then the Federal Reserve under fire potentially because they have not gotten inflation down, especially in view of those labor numbers on Friday. The markets will react to the numbers from labor on Monday, and we'll have the latest countdown across the board. Supply chain disruption 2.0. Another new round of supply chain disruption could be starting to go into a brand new year. This is how we started the year, and it's apparently how we're going to start next year. And then, are there double checks? Yes, a lot of people are trying to tell you that if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits, that you are getting double checks in the month of January. Is it right or is it wrong? But we're going to go over the right news. Stimulus checks, massive amounts of stimulus checks covered in today's recording. $300,000 of stimulus checks that viewers have gotten. Their 18 months of monthly stimulus checks or multiple stimulus checks, MSE. 5 checks of stimulus checks per month. We'll go over how to get these, especially if you're on SSI, SSDI, VA, and RB. They are everywhere. Plus, we'll go over what to do and what not to do from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Good morning. On a big morning's broadcast, a lot of breaking details about the financial markets and about your stimulus. It's all deliciousness. Plus, we'll get a preview of what's happening later today on the channel. Plus, the 3 new live shows on 3 different channels coming to you in today's broadcast. It's a big day. It's a big morning. The toast is toasted. The butter is buttering. The coffee is brewing. And it's a big morning. So let's get to it, starting right now. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a big day and a beautiful morning. Get that cup of coffee ready because we're going to have a big week with us. What a massive week it is. And let's go right into the major breaking news we're working on this morning. In today's recording, we'll be going over all those incredible stimulus checks one at a time. How much stimulus checks are we covering in today's recording? We're going to cover $300,000 of stimulus checks. Fast stimulus checks that pay out in less than 2 days in some cases, 18 months of stimulus checks, and then we're going to go over each of these incredible stimulus checks over this 1-hour broadcast. Stay with me to the very end. We're going to go over these 18 months of monthly stimulus checks that viewers have gotten since the month of March. If you found this channel, welcome, good morning. If you're a returning viewer, I'm going to show you how to get these big stimulus checks. They're already law. They've already been passed. Viewers already have them, and I'm going to show you how to get more of them if you already got some of them. They're paying about 5 checks per month. But first, we're going to start with the breaking news right now, and it's huge. A big week of earnings, the OPEC Plus decision, the Fed decision on labor, and the reaction to the news, supply chain disruption, and those double checks. But first, let's start with the earnings week that we're going into. The best indication of whether we're in a recession or whether the economy is going to get very weak is those earnings numbers. On Tuesday, this channel will have the latest breaking details for you on AutoZone, Toll Brothers, and Sentinel One reporting corporate earnings. Then, on Wednesday, I'll have the breaking details on Campbell Soup, Brown-Forman, and Lowe's reporting corporate earnings as well. Let's look at that Campbell Soup, for example. So Campbell Soup comes in on Mornings LALATE, and the company has been reinvented by Mark Klaus, its CEO, in recent days. Campbell Soup is a little bit like our is a little bit like our jelly company, Smuckers, that reported corporate earnings last week, and they beat across the board. Then we have a big day, a big day, which is on Thursday. And on Thursday, get your Costco pizza ready. Big guy. Do you eat Costco pizza for breakfast? I love pizza for breakfast. Do you like pizza for breakfast? And we never asked this question before on the channel. Jump a live chat. Yes or no? Pizza for breakfast. I used to always eat pizza for breakfast. I think it's a healthy way to start the day. It has your tomatoes, it has your bread, you have your cheese, and it also has your Costco. Costco. Costco reports pizza earnings and Costco earnings on Thursday, and that conference call is after the market closes. Then we also have Lululemon. You can go do some stretching after you had your pizza. That reports corporate earnings on Thursday. Who does yoga while eating pizza? You can keep it to yourself. Let's go to the second. That's a great visual. A downward dog, no downward pepperoni. Let's go into the second major news story that's hitting right today. This is minutes ago, and you knew it because we had talked about it all week long. It's the OPEC Plus decision on gas production. Who is OPEC Plus? That's a consortium of OPEC, of oil producing countries like Saudi Arabia, and they made the announcement minutes ago. Back in October, they had cut production of gasoline pumping by 2 million barrels a day. It was very severe. Then all this week, we were told that they may cut an additional 500,000 barrels per day. So the announcement minutes ago is that they're not changing course. It's going to still stay at a cut of 2 million barrels a day, which some people will say good news, some people will say bad news. I say it's good news. I say it's good news because it's basically keeping the status quo, keeping the current circumstance. And remember, more gasoline, lower prices, less gasoline, higher prices. So they're keeping the course, the same thing across the board. This is as news that those European Union countries this next week start their embargo of Russian oil. It was passed early this year, but it doesn't start until next week. And that actually starts what day? Oh, tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. Starts within 24 hours. The European Union bans all import of Russian oil, and that seaborne crude. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Have you ever had some seaborne crude? No, just don't eat it. It sounds like a beautiful dish, doesn't it? Or it sounds like a beautiful insult. You are seaborne crude. If you go into Monday's meeting and someone's really rude at you at the office, say you're seaborne crude. Excuse me? Was that an insult or was that a compliment? And so I'm really excited about this news. It basically means whatever you see for gasoline prices at the pump, do not expect any change across the board. The third story that we're working on today, it's actually two stories, is first the Fed failure on labor, and then also the market's reaction to the Fed's failure on labor. So we went into the weekend with the non-farm payroll jobs number release. Two numbers are released in this monthly number. The first one was how many jobs are created. That was number one. The second part of the report is the unemployment rate. Both of those numbers were blazing hot. They were really good numbers, strong labor numbers, which just causes you to think what happened to the Federal Reserve trying to soften inflation, wage inflation, didn't get it. And this Fed failure to get inflation under control is now going to be a big question mark this next week. The 3.75 percentage points of increases by the Federal Reserve, increases of interest rates, have done nothing to slow down the labor market, done nothing to slow down wage inflation, that's salary inflation. And the inflation outlook, while uncertain, has a path forward that is consistent with a Goldilocks scenario, says Moody's economist Mark Zandi, featured on the show for nearly 2 years. But the Fed can ill afford to take its foot off the gas at this point for fear that inflation expectations will rebound higher, says Jefferies financial economist Areta Markawaska in today's non-analysis report obtained by Allied News. She says wage growth remains consistent with inflation near 4%, which shows that there's a lot more work for the Federal Reserve to do. Takeaway, The unemployment rate is really low in that Friday number. That unemployment rate was a 3.7%. That's a really low unemployment rate. And then it shows that wages went up 5.1% year to date. That's really high inflation. That's very bad inflation. So it means that the Federal Reserve has to stay with these interest rate spikes. And I got to tell you, here's my prediction. There's a slight chance, there's a very slight chance, I'll say it's less than 50%, less than 50% chance that these numbers on Friday were so strong that the Federal Reserve may, by that December FOMC meeting, say, you know what? We're not going from 75 to 50. We're staying at 75 because these inflation numbers are really hot. If I was on the Federal Reserve Board, I would stay with 75 because we have this number, and then we have the December 1st number of the inflationary PCE, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. It showed that inflation went up month to month, year to year, and now we have the wage inflation really hot, and we have the labor numbers really hot. So the reaction from the markets will be fascinating this new week. You know what the markets are going to do? The markets are going to read this wrong. They're going to read this as though, oh, it's a great economy. Buy some stocks. When they should not be saying that as the reaction, they should be saying, wait, now I'm a little bit worried. Now I'm a little bit worried because I was really excited as a market analyst in stocks. This is not me. I'm talking how they would talk. I'm really worried that I thought the Federal Reserve is going to come down and soften at a 50 basis point increase, not 75. Now I'm worried because the labor numbers were so strong, maybe the Federal Reserve will come in at 75. That is what they should be saying. I don't know if they're going to get it right. I would be saying that. I'm very, very worried the Federal Reserve is going to go right back to 75 basis point, not do 50 as initially thought as early as Thursday. In fact, Jay Powell actually said we could step it down. But the numbers are very fluid, and those numbers on Friday are really, really high. That's why you have to get stimulus checks. You can't err on caution. How much stimulus checks? And in this broadcast, we have something new about these stimulus checks to go over. Over this 1 hour broadcast, I'm going to go over all these checks, but I have something brand new for you as well. These incredible stimulus checks were passed in March. Viewers of this channel have got to them since March. They are law, and viewers have received tens of thousands of dollars of these stimulus checks for 2022 since March. Number one. Number two, they are fast stimulus. They're getting them within about 2 days in some cases. It's $300,000 of possible stimulus checks, but the viewers of this channel are averaging currently the following payouts. They're getting monthly stimulus checks of 18 months, and in those 18 months, they're getting on average $3,000 of stimulus checks per month, about 5 stimulus checks each month. They got them in November, they're getting them in December. These are monster stimulus checks. They're huge. $300,000 of stimulus checks, you qualify. And yes, it's 18 months of MSCs. They are law. They have been paid, and they're still being paid. 5 checks per month. The great news, if you've just found this channel, you can still get these checks. And yes, they're for you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. Here are some things to know. They are not from your states. Number one, you need to apply. Number two. Number three, they are very, very fast paying. Number four, it's important to pounce as quickly as possible. Again, they are not from your states. Now, in this recording, we're going to go over all these incredible checks, but coming up in a second, we're going to go over another breaking news story we're working on today, which is a series of reports elsewhere, not here, about double benefits checks. I don't usually comment on other people's wrong stories, but today I am. And I'm going to go over that wrong story. I guess I'm spoiling the news of double checks for people on benefits. That's coming up in just a second. But first, let's go into these incredible stimulus checks, which have been paying out since the month of March. And let's understand where they are, how they got there, and how you get them as well. Let's look at those beautiful checks starting right now. First, what are these checks? Second, how do you get them? And then let's go over each check one at a time. First, let's understand where they came from. These were passed by executive action initially of Joseph Biden, your president, in the month of March. He, by executive action, passed into law a series of beautiful checks, and those became checks A, B, and C, nearly $100,000 of checks. And I'm going to go over those checks with you over this broadcast. So sit back and get ready to learn to earn. And these were done by executive action in March. Viewers have gotten them ever since March. They got it last month. I'm going to get it next month. Once you get approved, it's automatic stimulus. You qualified. Single individual, 75,000 or less, go get them. Married couple, 150,000 less, go get them. Become a member. Go right in this video, become part of the Purple Power family, and get these incredible checks. Then came Congress, and they passed a bill that established more checks, E through K, bringing us to then hundreds of checks for you, the Purple Power family. Then I found more checks, L and M, N and O, all for you, the incredible Purple Power family. What do? You become a member. You go around this video, join the channel, and then you go down in the newsletter delivered from me to you Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts, and apply for these incredible checks. How does this work? Don't worry. I'm going to go over this with you in just a second, one check at a time in this incredible recording. We're going to go over the brand new checks. We're going to go over the lifetime stimulus checks, and we'll also go over those inflation relief stimulus checks. But let's go back into that sixth breaking news story we're working on today. Are there double checks? Are there double checks for people on benefits? You know, I usually don't comment on false news stories elsewhere, but I think that this is such a prolifically wrong story, and it's in so many places wrong. I got to comment. Are there double benefits checks in January? Are you getting an extra benefit check in January? This is for SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Rural Benefits, Veterans Benefits. No, you are not. I can't tell you. This is a black and white, horribly untrue story that is circulating in a lot of places. Why is it being circulated? Because the mail date, the shipping date, the postmark date on benefits checks coming in the next few weeks. Because of the way in which the week ends because of the way in which the month ends, your December checks are arriving in January, if I could say this correctly, because I don't know if I could say it correctly. And basically, your December check and your January check are coming at the same time. So to think that you're getting an extra check in a 12-month year, are you getting 13 checks instead of 12 months of checks? No, you are not. It is so hideously untrue. And yet people are trying to use the shipping date of the check in recordings for you to confuse you to think you're getting an extra benefits check. You are not getting an extra benefits check. It's that simple. Here's an example that I equated to. Yesterday, I got my booster shot, my latest. I don't know how many booster shots I've had. You know, I've had more booster shots than Nancy Pelosi has had hairstyles. I go every like 10 seconds, I have another booster shot. And when I got the booster shot, and if you're in Southern California, you may have seen this advertisement in the supermarket. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The advertisement in the supermarket said, when you get your vaccine shot for Omicron, you can get $75 back on your groceries. Wow. Or up to $75 back on your groceries. I thought, wow. And then I thought to myself, wait a second, I didn't get $75 back on my groceries. What is this? And then I looked at my coupon. The coupon was 10% off on your groceries. Well, 10% off is not $75. How? And then immediately I started running the math. How is 10% back $75? Oh, if I spend $600 on groceries today, I will get $75 back. Message to Mars, I'm not spending $700 on groceries today, so I'm not going to be getting $75 back. I will probably be spending about $50 on groceries, which means I get $5 back. That is like saying you're getting a double benefits check in January just because the shipping date puts two checks land in the same month. Yeah, it's not an extra check. It's not a double check. It's the same check coming on a different day. Lord, the extent to which people just really think they can confuse you. Yeah, from the groceries to the multiple checks in a month. You know, it is humorous at best. Let's go into some reality checks right now. And those reality checks, the viewers of checks that have gotten from this channel since the month of March. Let's be these incredible checks. Back in February of 2022, I told my viewers that based upon the economic numbers you and I are looking at, I'm predicting the U.S. economy is going to go into recession. Very deep, very severe, starting in January 2023. I said that in February of this year. Immediately, the viewers' reaction on this channel was perfect. They said, if you're right, you've taught us to err on caution. You've taught us to be conservative of our money and be risk adverse, always get lots of money. So if you're right, Allied, go get me some stimulus checks. They said that in February. And immediately, I listened and heard. And I had three focuses at the time. Big checks, because I was predicting a 2-year recession. And apparently I was right. It starts in 2023. Number two, broad eligibility. I want you to be able to qualify. Number three, our ease of getting these checks. I wanted to make it very simple. And we achieved it. Because that week, Joseph Biden passed by executive action a beautiful series of 3 checks, A, B, and C. Then a few days later came Congress and they established other checks in a bill called E through F. I'll go over those incredible checks thereafter. And then I found you other checks N to Q. They're coming up in this recording. We achieved all 3 factors. Number 1, broad eligibility. You qualify. You qualify if you make $75,000 or less. You qualify if you make $150,000 or less, married couple. You qualify if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits. And you qualify if you have children or you don't have children. Number 2, I wanted big checks. I don't want any of this nonsense of $200 checks. I don't want any of this nonsense of $1,200 checks. No one in their right mind thinks $1,200 is going to pay their bills for 2 years. You need big checks to survive 2 years of recession. And we found them. And the average viewer of this channel is getting 18 months of stimulus checks. They're coming up in just a second. Then ease. I wanted very simple for you to get these checks. And where do I put that simpleness in? The LALATE newsletter. Delivered from me to you. I write it all out. So all you have to do is get your finger and go right down to where it says check A, click the link and go and apply. So now let's go over these incredible checks one at a time. Now that you know what they are, let's do some check pouncing right now as a family, starting this very moment. Check A is a beautiful $6,500 to $12,000 for stimulus check in every U.S. state. $6,500 to $12,000 stimulus check. How do you get it? Step 1, you go under this video, you become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Then you go into the membership newsletter, see check A, click the link and go right and apply. Wow, that was simple. You just click a link and go right in and get $12,000. Yeah, it's that straightforward. You're not done there yet because then you're going to go get check B. Now, check B is the big payout check. Because why? Viewers from check B are getting big sums of money. $15,000 to $80,000 across the board, but a lot of viewers are getting even more. How do you get check B? Step 1, go into this video, join the channel, then go down to where it says in the membership newsletter, check B, click the link and go right and apply. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get check C, which is for rent, utilities, mortgage, assistance, and more. How do you do this one? Same way. You become a member, but the only difference for check C is in the membership newsletter. You don't apply online. It tells you where to call, who to speak to, and what to say. It's incredible. Now, here are a couple things to know. Number 1, what am I watching? There's a guy in a red shirt that says a lot of checks for me. Why have I not heard this anywhere else? Let me go over what's going on. You're watching LALATE, number 1 in America for financial news on this subject matter. I've been doing this since 2020. I've gotten viewers $50 million. The proof is in the pudding. We've gotten big checks and it's happened across the board. Number 2, LALATE is number 3 overall for all financial news. And in the last 2 years, my predictions on this economy have been spot on. I was the only American broadcaster to record and predict that the U.S. economy would get an 8% inflation last year and would not go away. I was the only American broadcaster to record in February that we would suffer 2 years of recession. I was the only American broadcaster to record and predict a lot of other things. And that is why people watch me, because they get big money and they get big information about this financial market and this economy correct across the board. LALATE has now expanded to 3 channels. 3 channels, the original LALATE 1, LALATE 2, and LALATE 3. On LALATE 1, you have all the breaking news, tape, live, short, and broadcasting formats. Then on LALATE 2, you have Stimulus Live that airs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that goes over your latest stimulus. Jump in that live show anytime and ask some questions. There's always someone there to answer them. On LALATE 3, 24 hours ago, we launched Wall Street Live, and it has been very popular. Wall Street Live airs on LA3 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's doing really good numbers. I'm very excited for it. It's going to ramp up a little bit more. On LA2, humor is coming on back. On LA3, food is coming on back. There's a lot of money to get. So now let's go over a little bit more about these stimulus checks. What LA does is not done anywhere else. That's why this channel works. This is why this family, the Purple Power community, is winning. So do not use the reference point of bad local news broadcasters as a gauge of my performance. I don't hear this in local news. Great, your local news is junk. I don't. It's true. I don't see this in broadcast news. Guess what? Broadcast news wants to talk about Elon Musk every 10 seconds. I'm not. I'm going to talk about your money every 10 seconds. Number three, this requires a refocusing. A refocusing because this is big money. There is a big problem with this economy 30 days out. It's January. It's going to be 2 years of problems. And later in this recording, we're going to go over those big problems. Now, let's go into those check Cs. Success stories for those check Cs are absolutely incredible. And I have new success stories for you as well. Do you want $30,000 of rent for stimulus? Do you want $30,000 of stimulus rent checks? Then go get some check Cs. Join this channel. Do you want $15,000 of stimulus checks for utilities? Then go get some check Cs. Join this channel right today. Mark's brother-in-law went to $15,000. Here's Mark at $6,500. The same brother-in-law, $250,000 a snap, and then combinations of checks. Mark was at $32,000 of stimulus checks, and now Mark is holding $166,000 of stimulus checks. Here's Nisi. She was at $23,000 of stimulus checks. Now she's at $50,000. And here's Lorraine. She was at $105,000, and she went to $155,000 of stimulus checks. What's new today? I love this story. I love this story. And I talked about it last night in our live show on location at the Christmas Tree Park. Lingland, who's a longtime viewer, has really proven the success of learning to earn. What did Lingland do? So Lingland is just like any other viewer who watches, who is SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Rail Benefits, Veterans Benefits, and wonders, can I do this? She's done it, and she has done it for other people we learned today as well. What did she do? Lingland originally got 5 months of rent stimulus checks. She watched this video and she pounced again and she took it even higher. Now 12 months of stimulus checks of rent. Then she initially got a few months of utilities. Now she has gotten 14 months of utilities stimulus checks. That's huge. 14 months plus 12 months, folks, that's 26 stimulus checks. That's thousands and thousands of dollars of stimulus checks she has gotten for this channel. Then she got a brand new tablet. That's Stimulus N coming up later in this broadcast. But here's the breaking news story today. She helped a family member. That family member is now getting nearly a whole year of stimulus checks because Lingland listened and learned, and then she repeated how to do this for a family member. That's the true spirit of the Purple Power. Helping one another, inspiring one another, pouncing as fellow Purple Hawks. And the big second half, we're going to continue more about these incredible stimulus checks as we go to those lifetime stimulus checks. But what do? You go on in this video, you become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, because there's $300,000 of checks, and they're 18 months, and they're $3,000 a month, and 5 checks per month is what viewers are getting. Become a member and get ready for the big second half as we go into those additional checks. They're checks E through K. Then I'll be coming back to the breaking news on this market and more about what to know. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Mornings LA continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues. In a big, bold, beautiful Mornings LALATE, I see a lot of people in the live chat, and I got inspiration from what you post in the live chat. What? You're all talking about last night's show at the Christmas Tree Park. Well, guess what? On Afternoons LA today, what I'm going to be doing is going back to that Christmas Tree Park, but in tape format. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about what those ornaments showed us and how you can bring them to your home as well. It's a big show. So if you missed that live show last night, I will be bringing it back taped, and I will be commenting about my own broadcast so we understand a little bit more about those incredible ornaments. Big money across the board. And this big second half, we're going to go over those lifetime stimulus checks. We're going to go over those new stimulus checks. And remember, this is big money. So here are a couple things to remember when getting these stimulus checks. It's not for any one particular group, number one. Number two, you need to apply. Number three, she looks very upset, isn't she? And you must move fast. And finally, remember, they are not from your state. It's huge. And those incredible stimulus checks are just incredible. Big stimulus checks, about $300,000 of stimulus checks. Welcome to the brand new members of the channel. Nearly 100 new members have joined in the last 48 hours. I think actually almost 200 new members in the last 48 hours. 5 checks per month. You qualify. Go get these monies across the board if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. And with that, let's continue with these big checks, with those ones done by Congress. These incredible checks heat up this big second half. Congress came along after Joe Biden, and they passed a bill. And that bill established more checks, checks E through K. And let's look at those great stimulus checks right now. Stimulus check number E, $7,500 stimulus check. I love it. F, a $4,000 stimulus check. Wow. Then stimulus G, 30% off. Wow. H, a $2,000 stimulus check. Stimulus I, an $8,000 stimulus check. Stimulus J, $8,000 stimulus check. And stimulus K, $14,000. I love it. Now I got more stimulus for you right now. L is $100,000 on average of loan industry money. M, $4,000 of grant money. Then we have N, brand new tablet, brand new computer, brand new laptop, free internet, my favorite stimulus ever. It's in the membership newsletter, all these stimuluses down at N. Oh, 0 down payment, 0 closing costs, and no mortgage and no mortgage insurance. And then stimulus P, 3% down, and $8,000 a stimulus check on top of that. It's just incredible. So let's learn a little bit more about these stimulus checks. The largest stimulus check is $100,000. The smallest is $8,000. They've been long since March. Viewers have got to them since March. And these are beautiful. What are they for? Everything from rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. Home appliances, home repairs, the car, the computer, the internet. It's just all deliciousness. Is there a stimulus check for bacon? We're working on that for next year. We're working on that for next year. Fastest routing time, 2 days. Johnny started on Monday. By Wednesday, he had 45,000. He continued through Friday. He had $80,000 with 15 applications in, half rejected, half approved. The next week, he got mom and dad each $50,000, and then helped his 20 friends and neighbors $250,000. Just sort of like Lynn Glenn, who helped her family member get stimulus checks. I love it. That's the true spirit of the Purple Power. You learn, and then you help other people. And these incredible checks. Next up are inflation relief stimulus checks. What I teach the viewership of this channel is do not focus on inflation relief stimulus checks, because I've been with you for 2.5 years. I'm going to be with you for another 2 years of recession. Guess what happens? $1,200 stimulus checks, $1,000 stimulus checks aren't going to cut it. They'll cut it for the next month of bills, but you're going to run through $1,000 between now and the end of the holidays. So inflation relief stimulus checks, nice. They're an icing on the cake, but they're not enough to survive on. The details of those beautiful inflationary, those ISEs are in the membership newsletter at Check D. Go down to Check D. Then lifetime stimulus, because once your benefits go up, they never go down. You're going to have 4 raises of your benefits, and they are on top of each other. The current raise you have is 5.9%. Next year, you're going to have an 8.7% raise on top of the 5.9. Then you're going to have a raise on top of that and another on top of that, because there's going to be 2 more years of inflation. No one teaches you this. No one explains this to anyone except me, because I care about you. So you're going to have 4 raises that keep on coming on top of each other, meaning they keep on going higher. By year 4, the cost of living will be the cheapest of a generation, because by then, the labor, the rent, the groceries will all be the lowest price point of a generation. And there you go. Let's go back into the breaking news and what we're looking at today and why it is a very, very fascinating week that we're going into. The market's reaction to this labor is going to be really huge this week, because remember, the Federal Reserve has been raising rates for the last 9+ months to get inflation down. And the latest numbers we saw on Friday and the latest numbers we saw on Thursday showed that inflation has not gone down. Now, here is what Wall Street is doing and what you're not going to be doing. What is Wall Street doing? Now, if you watched the shows, I think 3 days ago, I did a very good broadcast. I want to do it, just a bleep of it right now. When I say the markets are Wall Street, I need to not do that anymore. Why? Because we learned a little bit about this on Wednesday. There's now 4 different parts of Wall Street that have totally different analysis, some right and some very wrong. They are the stock traders. They're in the wrong group. The stock analysts, those are the researchers. They don't make money based upon anything you do. They just sit back and research. They are a little bit right, but generally wrong. Number 3, the bond market, very, very right. And the economists, extremely right. So when I say the markets and what they're doing, I need to be a little bit more specific. The stock traders are doing really wrong analysis. What are they doing? On Wednesday, when Jay Powell said at that Brookings Institute conference as head of the Federal Reserve that there is now grounds for him to soften his approach and moderate. Let's be very frank. He did not say starting December. Let's be very frank. Jay Powell did not say in December I'm doing 50 basis points. He just said we can moderate. Well, I got to tell you, I think that we have enough days between now and that December FOMC meeting that the economists, the bond traders, and you and I would all say, okay, we've had too many strong numbers in here. There's too much inflation in Wednesday's numbers and Thursday's numbers and Friday's numbers. I think there's a very, very high probability the Federal Reserve does not go down to 50 basis points. They stay at 75. Moreover, even if they go down to 50 basis points, I think they see one more strong labor number. They're going right back to 75. That is what you and I need to understand. And of course, the bond traders are, and also the economists. The stock traders are all giddy like goats. When Jay Powell made that announcement, the stocks went up 700 points. The markets went up 700 points. No, not ground to celebrate. Now, here's what's also really important. Every single darn day, there is a report that says, well, inflation has come down. I'm sorry. You know, we have dealt with some crazy false narratives for 2 years on this channel. Among them, like there's 2 benefits checks coming in January, or there's an extra check in benefits in January. But the latest one that is really just making me want to take my notes and throw them at the camera is that inflation has come down. Where has inflation come down? I challenge any person who is a stock trader to tell me, where has inflation come down? The Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, which is an inflationary number, was released on December 1, and it went up month to month. It went up 0.2% compared to the prior month. It went up 5% year to date. It's an up. It's not a down number. It's an up number. When you look at the component parts of it, it was up. The prior inflationary report before that was the CPI released just about 2 weeks earlier, and it was up month to month, year to year, and the components were all up, with the exception of used car sales. I mean, unless you're a used car salesperson, I'm not excited about this. Then we had on Friday, wage inflation. How much? 5.1%. Wages went up 5% in 1 year in the latest number released on Friday. And when you look at them on a monthly basis, they went up as well. Where is the data that shows that inflation has gone down? It doesn't exist. So what's important to understand is that Jay Powell sees it. Jay Powell agrees with you. Jay Powell agrees with me. Jay Powell agrees with the bond traders, and Jay Powell agrees with the economists. It's those stock traders that keep on trying to sell you some snake oil. Ultimately, we need to stay course. And guess how we're staying course? We're staying on this channel till 11 a.m. because on 11 a.m. has holidays, allied. And guess what? You heard me right. At 3 o'clock afternoon show, I'm going to rebroadcast in the show the live feed last night from the Christmas tree park, and we will go over those holiday ornaments because I think they were very, very fascinating. I'll give you my commentary. I'll mute the audio from the broadcast at the holiday park, and I will comment that with you on set across the board. It's a big show today at 3 o'clock. But do not forget those live shows. Heating up on LALATE 1 is LALATE Live, about to start again in about 15 minutes. On channel 2 is Stimulus Live, about to start in about 20 minutes. And then later today, Wall Street Live returns to LA3. A lot of fun. Become a member. Get all these incredible checks. Do it very quickly. And we'll go over more about these details across the board. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Happy holidays and congratulations to all the big success stories of this week as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.